Yeah, I know it's late. This and another album are going to be my next albums to talk about. This one, well, for not having heard anything from Mice and Men, even up to this point, even though I've had, actually weeks to the time to do this, but I just kind of been dodging it a little bit here and there because I wanted to really dig into it, but there might not be much to the album. Sure, it's like your 2000s metalcore, but 2000s wasn't a bad time frame for metalcore. It's certainly better than what most people will say about nu metal, but and now all of a sudden somehow they become one and the same. Which is even more fucked up actually, but if you do it right, it's not too bad. Hence Code Orange last year, and you have to check that new single they released yet in its entirety, even the other part. But what I did actually hear what going on, I think it's the same one that was released on Adult Swim, because if it is, it's freaking awesome. So then yeah, check it out. You could probably still find it on YouTube somewhere if you have to, but yeah, just check it out on Adult Swim if need be, or buy it on the band's website, or whatever you got to do, I guess, to hear it, listen to it, and then purchase it, because it's good. Now back to this album. Defy is pretty good. I kind of do get lost a little bit on Instincts, though. Back to Me does kind of win me back. Sunflower kind of here and there. Unbreakable's not bad. I actually like hold on, let me get my hat straight. All right. And it's bad. And the way this album goes, it's almost like by the time Vertigo comes out, some of the things they do on Vertigo almost comes off as a prep up for what they're going to do next, which is a cover of Pink Floyd's Money. Now, this is the one I will be more in depth on addressing. More so or less in the fact that it's surprisingly good. I mean, for being a metalcore, straightforward metalcore type band, as opposed to something of a more progressive metalcore or mathcore kind of band, which would be more up their alley, I guess. Well, hell, I mean, BT Bam is one of the few who've actually done a pretty good Pink Floyd cover, Us and Them. And a worse example being parts 1, 2, and 3 of Another Brick in the Wall via Chord. So, where does this fit in? Well, it kind of fits somewhere in the middle. But more so on the BT Bam's Us and Them thing, as opposed to the Korn's Another Brick in the Wall. Because they actually do good with this track. The only thing that, you kind of do miss that is on the original take, the original version that is from Pink Floyd, is the sax. The saxophone. I mean, come on. You couldn't even try to do the saxophone. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't even know if they vaguely remember if they did it. No, I don't know if they really bothered. They may have done a solo, but I don't know if it was the sax solo or not. But regardless of that, I mean, Warzone's pretty heavy in of itself, so that's not bad. I don't understand this one in terms of the title, Forever YDGN. Whatever the fuck that is, it's some young hip thing I don't fucking understand. I'm 29. I'm still technically young, just not that young. Yeesh. But in the following track, of the softer tracks, there's some points I wish they could work on their, it just doesn't sound like, it's not a bad song. I do wish they would fix, some of the choices they did with the acoustics and some of the compositional arrangements, but other than that, that's about it. Other than that, honestly, I understand, Lucas Lecomte, if you're probably seeing this, I'm not fully sure on the mixing part of the whole thing. I mean, can't really say much because I've never been fully in a studio recording as much as you've been doing stuff like that. Or, have recording stuff, programs and whatnot. But, so I'm not as familiar in that regard, so just don't shoot the messenger on that, I guess, so to speak. But, yeah, I enjoyed this album, and I'm almost curious, with the exception of the last album from what I hear, I'm kind of curious of what they did sound like before. Or is this kind of the same shit? Because that may make me change my mind later in the year. But for now, I gotta give this a thumbs up. I like this. Aside from Instincts, which is, it is good, but you could tell there is some that's the only time where I can hear actually some mixing issues. Past that, it actually sounds like a decent album. Not just decent, a pretty damn good record. I'm not going to say it's great by any means, but for what it is, it's pretty damn good. And that's my review on Mice and Men's Defy. And on to the next one, which is Sleeping Giant. I am. Alright, so yeah. I'm gonna just start and say it right now. I feel awful for not having known about this band up until this point. How do I feel awful? Because this is their last album. It's hard to find a good Christian band in metal that's not Demon Hunter. Ironically, they kind of sound like it. Even though they're technically Christian hardcore, but to each his own. But technically by this record, they're more metalcore in a kind of Hatebreed-ish kind of way. But think Hatebreed, but more by the way of Demon Hunter, and the vocals come off very similar to the singer whose name escapes me from Ignite. It comes off kind of like that to me. His voice comes off similar in that regard, and it's really good. And it's just wow. And just hearing Preachcore Lives is like, what an interesting way. And some of the features, and this album had plenty of features, and the moment I first heard it, I'm like, this kind of comes off Demon Hunter. Even more ironic, Ryan Clark has a feature on here. Sadly, it's not the strongest of the features. I mean, his feature when he has it, when he's more present, is pretty damn good. And I'd recommend this to if it sucks that this is the last album, because I totally would recommend this to somebody that I know who who likes Demon Hunter's music, and if he's wanting something heavy that's actually has somewhat of a good message, even if it does come off a little bit, kind of cramming down your throat, kind of like some Christian bands usually do. But when you produce at least good enough, have a good enough sound to you and a good enough presence to you, it's just you kind of need something, man. And especially given the fact of, recently with Under Oath, though, which kind of did get me out my Valentine's Day funk, that Valentine's Day Missing Rita funk, that track, which I don't know why the name of the track is escaping me, but it's new. It's going to be off the new album. I'm looking forward to that. And that's the one time I'm going to probably bring out I'm going to have one time a band that was Christian that is now not Christian. Because of that, I will not be holding back my tongue for that. For this one, I don't know if I did. I don't know. The last one I didn't, but this one I did. And yeah, I saved the best. I'm gonna say right now, I've saved the better album for last. So don't blame me. definitely check it out if you want, man. I mean, Second Chance Kiss is probably one of my favorite tracks, and with one of the other vocals coming off kind of sort of similar to what you'd expect post Meteora. Fuck. The dude from Linkin Park. And Mike Shinoda, thank you. Thank you, Brain, for finally clicking it. He has that kind of weird clean sound style to him, I guess. But it works better here than... kind of. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. It works better here. And, yeah, this is dang good. I've never heard the first part of No Sleep. That one features a guy named Marin Green. Don't know who he is. Information features some guy named Ray Hughes. Not entirely sure who that is either. Apparently, they mention with No Love, they have some guy named Garrett Russell from a band called Silent Planet. Lantern has Bruce LePage from a band called 100 Demons. And of course, Demon Hunters, Ryan Clark on Fly, Fight, Crow. I guess that's sort of like a fight or flight response kind of thing. Reformation is fine, but I was a Catholic. That's kind of a little bit of a shot in a way, I guess. So, I mean, it still sounds good. But, like, Second Chance Kids just comes off... like, you could tell they're more rooted in hardcore with a track like this. And, yeah, they're one of the few good... they're one of the few ones... it's a shame, because they seem like they're pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if I could say this is their best, because I have yet to... like Love Mice and Men in my earlier... This... just... wow, I guess... I mean, I want to get in depth on it, but, you know... Preach Core Lives is definitely, like, one of those... this is one of the... that track definitely kind of solidifies... something to a degree with... final track being Smashed Upon the Rock was kind of a... that was definitely one heck of a way to outro, I guess. But definitely Preach Core Lives was definitely a way to introduce, yet also kind of say we're kind of... also kind of sort of bringing themselves as a legacy to themselves, and I guess that's what they kind of refer to their own sound as Preachcore or something, or something weird like that, I guess. But Sleeping Giant, up from the underground, we leave behind a legacy of praise. Kingdom over everything. I can still feel the rain. Thinking back over these last years, reminded again, you're the only joy in this world of pain. Let your word run wild and our hearts be filled with your fire and rain in recognition of one true name. Let the freedom come and the truth be seen. My prayer is that all may know what you truly meant to me. Up from the underground, we leave behind a legacy of praise. Don't perform for the crowd, but reform for the crown. Let me see, I'm kind of repeating some kind of chorus stuff, actually. You'll have the words of life, you'll see the fear in their eyes, but don't be intimidated. The darkness in them is just afraid of the light. Let your word run wild and all hearts be filled with your fire and rain and recognition of one true name. Let the freedom come and the truth be seen, so that all may know what you truly meant to me. Christ, my strength, my song. Know my life is yours till we meet again. And of course, before deciding to go into breakdown and saying, I will worship for an audience of one, we live behind a legacy of praise. Now, which, I mean, that kind of pretty well kind of sums up and sort of kind of for an opening track that kind of serves as it's a nice little opener, but at the same time it kind of is sort of a way of like pretty well stating this is our last hurrah, you know, at the same time. So enjoy the ride, and it's an enjoyable ride, I'd say. And for being your last album, and for not even having had a chance, Sleeping Giant, to even and which I'm going to eventually get a chance to check out what you've brought for the Christian hardcore and metal scene, and just for maybe even metal and hardcore in general. And even though some of the more secular audiences may not give you enough love, but I give you some love, man. I'm gonna say this album here fucking rocks. I can't fully say masterclass. I have to check out their other stuff before I can do that, if I can ever get time at this point. But yeah, definitely, if you're looking for something in the hardcore metal scene that's besides Demon Hunter, but is kind of familiar in that Demon Hunter kind of way, definitely check this album out. It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun! And definitely kind of put me in that mood. And finally, it was like one of those few times where I felt like I needed to. It's one of the few times you feel like you need to mosh with Jesus. All right. What did you guys think of both of them? Of course, so of Mice and Men. Hold on. Okay, so of Mice and Men, Defy, and I Am, and Sleeping Giants, I Am. What y'all think? Leave a comment below, let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Which will, not sure if it's gonna be Red Sparrow or not. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. So we'll see. But whenever that may be, until next time, take care, y'all.